I walked about 40 minutes the other day to stand outside a house that I've not been to in about, well over 30 years. It was my grandparents' house. Somebody else lives there now. Different door, different colour. Satellite dish where a tree used to be. And I stood on the pavement across the road like a man who'd lost something and wasn't sure if it was still inside. And a woman come to the window, looked at me, and I probably looked insane, but I didn't move because there was something there, just standing outside there, the place where like it first started. Last week I told you something was missing and I couldn't name it. So this week I've gone back to the beginning, and not because I think the answer's in the past. I'm not naive enough to believe that, but because somewhere between who I was at 9 years old and now I'm at 52, I've made a lot of decisions, followed a lot of different paths and closed a lot of doors. And I wanted to start at the beginning and ask, which of those doors should have stayed open? Which version of me got left behind at this address? Here's what I remember standing there. I used to draw, I used to play football obsessively, filled notebooks, not because anybody told me to, because I couldn't not. I used to disappear in my own mind for hours, in my own head, and come back with things I'd made. I used to have the appetite for this, for ideas, for making things, that like pure private pleasure of creating something from nothing. And at some point, and I generally can't tell you when, that all stopped. It wasn't dramatically, and I didn't decide to quit. Life just got louder, and the drawing got quieter, and the strategic playing with like army stuff in your mind. And then one day it was just gone, and I didn't even notice that leave. There's a thing I found that what happens when you go back to a childhood place as a grown man, you expect nostalgia, you know, that warm kind. And instead what I got was grief, and not for the place. That place is just bricks. But for the boy who visited there, the one who hadn't been told what he was supposed to do yet, who hadn't been practical yet, who hadn't traded his appetite for stability, who still believed without evidence, without reason, that he was going to do something that mattered. And standing there, I wanted to go back in and tell that person something, and I'm still figuring out what. I think the thing that I'm looking for might have been something to do with that boy. Not becoming him again, that's not possible, but I'm probably not the point. But finding the thread that connects him to me, because somewhere between 9 and 52, that thread got dropped. And I've been operating without that ever since. You know, functional, successful, completely disconnected from the part of me that used to know instinctively what it wanted. And going back there didn't give me the answer, but it gave me the right question, which is more than I had last week. Before I left, I walked to my old school, and that's been demolished now. Houses are there. The chippy's still there that I used to go and get a chip barn from. The field where we used to go and eat those chips, the playground is still there. It has changed. In fact, all of it's changed, all of it's gone. But the boy who needed them doesn't. He's just gone quiet. He waits, he wonders when someone's coming back for him. Next week, I'm going to go somewhere with no past, just silence, just me. And I need to find out what's left when there's nothing to look at but myself. What did you do as a kid before anybody told you what you should be doing? Tell me in the comments. I have a feeling it matters more now than we think.